Hello YouTube, how you guys doing? Today we are on day 3, Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, day 3, and this is going to be part 1 of day 3, and we're going to be talking about Bitmain S21 XPs, S21 XP Hydros, talking about their efficiency. Just talked with their sales representative here, going through some of the details on Hydro. You know, at what point are you going to be losing efficiency? At what point will the 13.5, see 13.5 there for joules per terahash, that's 13.5 watts basically per terahash. At what point will you start losing efficiency on the Hydros? So that's what today's video is going to be about. So you guys know what to do. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys check out our site, cryptollc.org. If you're looking to buy miners, you're looking to sell miners, you're looking to build a farm, we have all of that available. You can also run a firmware on your existing Bitmain miners. It supports most miners. It's going to be our firmware, Crypto LLC, based on Vanish. We can download that in the description and put that on there. It'll increase your efficiency. It'll have better control, better sensors, control of your miner, so that you get more efficiency, especially if you're running like S19s. So you're going to save hundreds of watts per miner. And it's just better overall. There's profile switching, all that stuff. All right, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Going over the HK3 V6. They put a roof on it. Interesting. That's a little addition. But I was told by sales representative it's still an HK3 V6. It's not a V7. It's not an upgrade from the V6. That's what we're talking about today. So before we get started, Bitcoin saves your wealth and Jesus Christ saves your soul. So make sure you guys have one and the other. All right, let's go. So I'll show you guys around first. These containers here, this is a replica, small replica of the HK3s, V6. I think these are still V6s. Might be just replicas of something else, not a V6. But you get an idea of how this looks, how you would have this installed, like on your property, at your mining facility. So this is a dry and wet tower. This is a wet, well, not a dry wet. Well, it is a combination of dry and wet, by the way. But this one is the one where you sprays water down, and so you don't have two dry towers like 1 and 2. You just have one of these dry and wet, and then you kind of see how the pipe's going to be working out. Obviously, it's going to be different. You can see it here. This is what it's actually going to look like. So, and what we're going to be talking about is how you can deploy this on your property. Let's say you have heavy industrial, agriculture, commercial, whatever it is. All counties are different, all states are different, and some states, they don't care. You can put this on, you know, agriculture, you can put this on residential, doesn't matter. One of our clients actually had that, and it was agricultural land, and he put a Bitcoin farm right on it. They're totally fine if the county and the city all approved everything. He's mining on it for years and years. So you could do that. You don't need like heavy industrial to plot this down anywhere. You could put it down to agricultural. So but when you work with us at Crypto LLC, we'll make sure that all ordinances for the city, the county, the state, everything is good. So once you put down your hydro or your air, you're not going to have any issues where the county or city will come back at you and say, hey, what the heck is this? You guys didn't tell us about this, 10 megawatt farm. You're not going to have any of those issues, as we would work with everyone, make sure everything is good. Anyway, so let's go back to the miner. So you got these S21 XPs, S21 XP Hydros, and these are the newest ones. You can see they got 12 joules a terahash and 13.5 joules a terahash. So when we talk to the sales representative, we're asking them this question, right? For the S21 XP Hydro, like at what point will you start losing efficiency? What I mean by that is it's advertised as 12 joules a terahash, which is really good. It's like super efficient miner. For 5,676 watts, you're going to be getting 473 terahash, which is awesome, right? It's a very good number. Give you a comparison. You go to like an S21, you're going to be like at 1718 or S19J. You're at 30 almost, but if you go low power mode, you're at 23. If you get an S19K, you're at 23. If you go low power mode, you're at 20. All those numbers are way less than the number advertised here at 12, or the air miner at 13.5. See, it's a big difference. So what we were asking is, okay, at what point will we lose efficiency on the hydro miner since it's at 12? And so the answer we got from the sales representative here is that it should handle 80 degrees ambient. So when it's 80 degrees ambient outside and you're running two dry towers, which is what they recommend. So you can have not this wet, you can have your mining container, you can have two dry towers. It's full of miners, so you're doing 1 megawatt of miners. And so it will handle 80. So at 80 degrees, your miners will be still at 12 joules a terahash. It'll still be at that rate at 80. Now, when it goes past 80, you're going to have slow incremental increase of power consumption because now your chips are becoming less and less efficient, and because they're heating up. And everyone knows this. I mean, especially gamers out there, you know, you guys know this, that when your chip gets hotter, you're consuming more power. And if you're overclocking your chips, you're going to be consuming more power. By the way, make sure you guys like the video, right? Like, share, comment. Let me know if you guys have any questions about the hydros at the S19s, S21s, L7s, whatever you guys are interested in. Write a comment so I can answer you guys' question. Yeah, like the video. I see 6 viewers right now. That's cool. Hit like on that video, guys. All right, so when it goes up, so past 80, you're going to be losing efficiency. That's when you're going to start dropping. And I try to get a curve from them, like a curve to see, like, okay, at 80, it's you start dropping. That's at that point. So basically, it'll still be around 12 joules a terahash at 80, but you'll start dropping. Like, but what is it at 85? What is it at 90? What is it at 95, 100, 105, 110, and so on? You know, is it a steep drop or is it kind of like a slow incremental drop? So like maybe at 85, instead of 5,676 watts, maybe it will increase by 200 watts, right? That's something we don't know, and I try to get that from the sales representative, but they do not have that curve. They only have just a general, general curve for the inlet temperature, which you know, it doesn't tell me anything because the inlet temperature is stable up to 80, but then it starts dropping after 80. So, but that does give you a good idea of what it can do, right? And my guess is that it's probably increasing by about 200, 300 watts every 5 degrees. Judging by my experience of running ASIC miners for years and years and years, it's most likely dropping probably 200 watts every 5 degrees, 200, 300 watts every 5 degrees. So that means you're going to be around 6,000 watts when it's going to be 85, and then another 300 watts probably at 90, another 300 watts at 95, another 300 watts at 100. So if you're at 100 degrees outside, it's probably consuming 1,000 watts more. So that means your efficiency will then decrease from 12, it'll probably go up to like 13, 14, which again is not a big issue. One way you can go around that, just so you guys know, if you guys are building out a farm like this, especially if you're building it out in a hot environment, what I would recommend you do, like if you're building it out like in Texas or Arizona or something like that, and you have hot temperatures like a lot, you know, throughout the year, it's always hot, mostly hot, you know, especially, here's the thing, especially if you have hot temperatures for a long time, keep that in mind, because in some states you can go up to like 100 degrees at the daytime for like 2 hours, and then it immediately goes down. You know what I'm saying, guys? It's like at 100 degrees and then it just goes and it's really down really fast. 6 p.m. it's like 80. 9 p.m. it's 60. You know what I mean? You have like a 40 degree up and down, 40 degree up. That's way more ideal. That's way better than having environments where at night it's 70. You know what I mean? Like at night it's 70, and then in the daytime it's 100, and then at night it's 70, and you have this slow, you know, 30, 20 degrees, but it never goes less than 70 in the day at nighttime. You know what I mean? For those type of situations, what I would recommend you do is you get three dry coolers, not 2. You get 3 dry coolers. That way you have that extra dry cooler that'll keep them nice and cool. So not only is this good to do for the efficiency, making sure the efficiency stays up there at that 12 mark, but it'll also help with keeping the chips cool. Because one of the other negative things about having hot chips is that when the chips are hot, you're pretty more stressed on the miner, and you don't want that. You know, it'll be fine. You can run it for months and months and months hot. But do you want to? Like, do you want to run it for months and months or years hot? You know? So again, if you're plugging this into like Arizona, in New Mexico, you're plugging this into Texas, you're plugging this into Florida, right? You're doing that over there, get 3. Yeah, get 3 dry coolers and you'll be set there. Right? Get 3 of those. So, you know, some mining farms out there, they build them like in the desert, like literally in the desert, like the Middle East, UAE or Saudi Arabia. Some Arabians, we see them around here at the Bitcoin mining in Nashville. We see them out here and they get these for their situation. Obviously, it's understandable, right? They're in UAE, they're in Saudi Arabia. They're, you know, it's really hot out there. They get these, but for them, like, dude, get 3. You do not get two dry coolers. Get 3 dry coolers. All right. Now let's go through this flyer and show you guys around. Let me find a table here so I can place this down. I don't want to get in people's way, and I don't want to take up someone else's table. Let me see if I can find like a location here. I'll walk around the corner and go through this flyer here. I wonder if that's even possible. Let me see. No, it doesn't look like it. I'll just go over here. There's no one here. All right, so. All right, here's the HK3 upgrade, right? So this has a stat change where they added the roof to it. This roof did not exist before. And I asked him, I was like, well, is this like an HK7? Is this an upgrade from an HK6? Because there's a roof, but no, it's not. He told me it's not an upgrade. This roof is just added. Maybe it's just an add-on you can get, whatever it is. But this is how it's going to be. And this is a 2 dry coolers. Now you can also get wet and dry, which water sprays down, you know, but I wouldn't recommend that because you're just adding more things to break. And then you also need a water supply, a constant water supply. And going through the math on the water supply, give you an idea. If you wanted to cool off one of these containers with water and that the wet and dry cooler, you would need to have 6 gallons a minute of water being sprayed on top, right? Sprayed down on those pipes for that extra cooling. You would need that when you are at, I think it was 60 or 70 degrees Fahrenheit outside ambient temperatures. You would need to spray 6 gallons a minute, right? That's a lot of water, right? 6 gallons a minute. So like if you're out in New Mexico or Arizona and you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to have like a whole poly pond, a whole, you know, multiple wells, pumping water, all that stuff. You need to have all of that just to handle it. Why do that, right? Just get 2 of these dry coolers, get rid of water. You don't have to plug this thing into water, have 6 gallons a minute, pump it into it. And the only time you don't pump water into it is when the temperature is freezing, basically close to freezing. I think it's 35, 40 Fahrenheit. When it's close to freezing, then you don't need that 6 gallons a minute. But you do need it if it's past that. It starts slowly going up. 1 gallon a minute, 2 gallons a minute, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 maximum. That's how we know. We talked with the engineer that was working on these containers from Bitmain, and that's the information we got from them because we were looking to build a farm running on hydro, and 6 gallons a minute was a huge problem. The only way to go around it was we had to install multiple wells, build a poly pond, pre-pump the poly pond, reuse the water, you know, circulate it back into the poly pond. It had to be deep enough, and had to be enough volume in the poly pond so that ambient temperatures could cool it off. So there's a whole situation there. Anyway, and then let's take a look at this brochure here, so you guys take a look at S21 Hydro. So here we go, 12 joules of terahash, 5,676 watts. And here's the voltage, input voltage, 415. So this is a 3-phase miner. You got your plug right over here. So you got A, B, C, and then ground that plugs into this connector here, special connector. So you're giving it 240 volts at, I'm thinking probably 10 amps. I don't know what the conduit size is, somewhere around there, but 240 volts per leg and 3 legs. So you're giving them, you know, if you combine it, you can give them like this 415, but it doesn't do that. I think it just takes the 240 from each leg and just uses it like that. But basically, you know, you're doing 415 if you're combining the legs there. And then you have the S19. I mean, what I keep saying S19, S21 XP Air. So the other thing we'll talk about here shortly is going to be the XP Air. You can see the efficiency is not as good as a hydro. It's a little bit less, but again, that's slightly less. Kind of irrelevant when you're talking about efficiency at that scale right there. That's good stuff, right? And then you have your immersion cooling miner, S21 XP 1mm. It just stands for immersion. You see it has no fans there. No fans on both sides anywhere. This is for immersion. And again, this is a 4,000 watt miner. or a 5,700 watt miner. Different energy efficiency, different terahash, HEM, NEM types of miners. But this is for immersion, and we do not recommend immersion. It's a waste of time. All right, S21 Pro. So again, different miners. You got 15 joules of terahash. A regular S21, 17.5 joules of terahash. You know, this is Hydro 16, and so on. These are different kind of a little bit older miners here. S19J XP, 21.5. You know, when you're looking at miners like this, like S19J XP 21.5, when you're looking at miners like this is where purchasing miners comes in, like what type to get. Because if you get this S19K Pro, it's at 23 watts of terahash, right? You can take this miner, run him in low power mode, and you'll get 20, right? Not 23, you get 20. And 20 is less than 21.5 on the S19J Pro. So when you do the math, you look at the current pricing of these guys. Sometimes it makes more sense to get this and put it in low power mode, because the XP might be worth, you know, $1,000 or cost $1,000 more than this one. And so a lot of times it might make more sense to be like, you know what, if I just run this in low power mode, I get this type of terahash. You know, instead of 120, I get 100 terahash, and it's running at 20 watts terahash, which means it's 2,000 watts a miner at 100 terahash 20. That's 2,000 watts a miner. I get this, and it costs me this amount of money, or I can get this, which puts it at 21.5. It costs more, and it's worse. So, you know, that's kind of the thing. You know, we help our clients make a decision, you know, which way to go. But again, you could technically run this one at low power mode as well. But, you know, dollar per terahash and all that. So that's how we help our clients. You got all these other miners. By the way, we have hosting available at our facilities. You know, if you wanted to run your Z15s, your KS5s, your L9s, your L7s, we can run any ASIC at any of our farms. So no issue there. You guys don't have to run your, you know, straight up Bitcoin miners. So you got X5 of Monero, Random X Monero miner. This is a KA3. Is this a Caspa? I think it's a Caspa miner here. DR7. KS5 Pro, another, I guess it's a Caspa miner. Yeah, KS miner. Looks like it. But yeah, you run anything at our facilities here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see if we get some more bits of information that maybe they'll reveal something in this brochure. Let's see. By the way, the prices for these containers, so we work directly with Bitmain, with resellers, with manufacturer, with we have like a lot of contacts here at the conference, working with BitDeer, working with Bitmain, working with Whatsminer, things like that, where when you come in and you buy containers from Bitmain, it'll be more expensive than if you buy them through us. And the reason for that is Bitmain is just going to give you a solid manufacturing price, you know, just give you like whatever it is. It's 120 or whatever it is. I haven't checked the pricing for the containers, like 2 dry coolers and a container. Whatever it is, they'll give you that price, but we can always beat it. And the reason why we can always beat it is because we have direct contact with Bitmain sales team, with their engineering team. We know their head of sales for United States, head of sales for Latin America. We have, you know, direct contacts with their top people here. And so when we talk to them, we talk to them from that position, you know, and we say, hey, you know, we need a hydro container, we need an HK6 V6, HK3 V6, right? And then Bitmain will then provide it at a great price for us. So you can save money not only on the miners, you know, because a lot of times, not a lot of times, most of the time we get miners even cheaper than you can get them for yourself. Again, because of those relationships we have, so we can get those miners cheaper. We can also get the containers cheaper, like significantly cheaper for you. So if you wanted to get an HK3 V6, you wanted to get maybe a BitDeer miner, or a BitDeer container. By the way, they're out here. There's a Giga container over there, but there are BitDeer. I think it's somewhere down there. I know their booth is down here. I think the container's out there somewhere. But if you want to get that BitDeer container, hydro, you can also do that with us. All right, now I'm gonna put this away, and let's go let's go look at the miner here. Show you guys around the miner a little bit. I don't want to get in people's way, so I'll just show you like this. Here's that connection here. That 3-phase and a ground, 1, 2, 3 ABC ground. So gives you like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 watts. Depending on the conduit size here. If it's like a 10 amp conduit times 240, or if it's a 15 amp conduit, and obviously you can do more and more and more. And depends on the power supply, what the power supply can handle. It can handle more or less. But the cool thing is about these power supplies, they're also hydro cooled, right? So here's your connector for the power supply. And there's a blocks right there for hash boards. Cool little setup. And then for air container here, they did increase the size of the fans. You can see the fans are bigger.
All right, thank you.
And then your fans for the PDU. And then also, this is some of them are 3-phase for the power, but then some are not. This is not. This is, you see that A, B, or like BC or BA or whatever it is. And then you got your ground or neutral here. Well, that's actually the ground. So this is, the 2 phases. So, and then I think I've seen air miners. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there are no air miners that are 3-phase. Maybe there are, but that's how you set that up. It's really cool, actually. The 3-phase thing is really cool. Putting 3-phase power into it. So you have to measure less when it comes to amps, because when you plug the miner in, it's not mixing around. Like, it's not going A with B or B with C or C with A or C with B. What it's doing is just putting the equal load on all the phases. So you just plug that guy in. If he plugs into some breaker, that breaker is just equally loading it. So if it's got 10 amps on A, 10 amps on B, and 10 amps on C, which means that if all your miners are 3-phase and you plug them in, they're all going to be using all the amps on all legs will be loaded at the same exact rate, which is cool. So I have to count less. When you're running 2-phase miners, which is most air miners, or basically all air miners, you have to always measure and load up your PDUs properly on the panels. So that way you don't have situations where A is 400 amps, on the leg, and then B is 350, and then C is 320 or something like that. Then you have to, got to offload A and load more B and C. You don't have to do that on 3-phase miners, as they would pretty much be loaded equally. Let's take a look over here. This is Hash House. You get some more ideas for hydro. Look at that gigantic cooling for hydro. I think it's hydro. Maybe it's no, it's not. Never mind. It's not hydro. It's immersion. You got the immersion over there, and then you got your cooling over here. But it's very similar to the hydro container from Giga. Right over there, you see that hydro container in the back behind this micro BT. Very similar. It's a container with gigantic cooling for hydro, so that kind of looks similar. But here it's immersion cooling. And for those of you guys out there that are thinking immersion, I don't want to hurt any of you guys' feelings, right? Don't do it. Don't do immersion. You're wasting your time. Right? That stuff's a joke. If you can't scale it. You can't. It's a headache to take care of. If you're overclocking it, cool. But why would you do that? Why would you want to overclock it? What, to kill it faster? Say, well, I'm keeping it cool. Again, there is no point. Just get miners. Just have more space for miners. You're more flexible. You have more space available. And you can run them in low power mode if you're looking to save. You can also overclock them. And some say, well, I can't overclock this miner to, I can't put a special power supply on this S21 and then overclock it to like 8,000 watts and then have it run 500 terahash and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you can't do that. You can only do that with immersion, right? I understand that, but why would you want to do that? Your efficiency is going to go down the tube if you do that, right? Your efficiency is going to be really, really bad. And then also, how long is your miner going to last? Your miner is running, instead of running at 600 megahertz on the chips, you're running at like at 800 megahertz on the chips. How long is that miner going to last? So it's just whatever. There is no point. And for those of you guys that understand electronics, right? You know what happens if you overclock your laptop? It's like overclocking a laptop. You know, do you want to overclock a laptop? It's like you can, but then how long is it going to last? 6 months till it dies. So there's really no point at all. At all. I mean, it's better to just go out there, buy used miners, plug them in. You'll save a lot of money on used, and all that money that you would technically earn by overclocking, you can just save it by underclocking, right? Or by buying used miners and underclocking those. And then obviously when you're doing that, your stability is way better because you are not overclocking. So you don't have your miner just freaking out, your hash board's freaking out. You know, you're giving them so much juice, you're giving them so much watts, you're giving them so much voltage on the chips. All the little ASIC chips are freaking out. What's going on? You know, why am I getting, instead of 12 volts or 13 volts, why am I getting 18 volts, you know? So that's the thing you got to keep in mind. Okay, here's a Giga container here that you're going to compare to that immersion cooling. You saw that immersion cooling was kind of running something similar. We saw how big that immersion cooling radiator system was, right? It's similar to hydro. This is very similar to hydro. This container itself is a hydro for Giga. It's by Giga. I think it's a Whatsminer. Is it a Whatsminer? I'm gonna go around and check. I think it's a Whatsminer container here, but it's a difference. They have different hookups. There is a Whatsminer on the other side that I can show you guys. Maybe this one's a Whatsminer or a Bitmain hydro container. Anyway, it's very similar to immersion. You saw those big replicas or little plastic molding done for the immersion. It looks cool, and you know it works. I mean, immersion is not like immersion doesn't work. It works. It's just financially, it's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. And in terms of scaling it, like you're thinking, hey, I'm gonna build 2 megawatts of immersion, right? Okay, you do that. But what about the next step? You know, when you want to build 10, are you still going to be doing immersion? Because that's when it becomes really a joke when you're looking at that. Like, really, you're going to do why? You know, and then on top of that, when you do immersion, you know, you're going to hire more and more techs to take care of it. There's more and more problems. You know, and then when time comes to buy miners, are you going to modify them all? And then when time comes to sell miners, you're going to modify them all. You're going to spend hundreds of hours modifying all those boards and everything. And then when you sell it, you got to ship it. What are you gonna do with the oil? You're gonna flush it out of the miner. You're gonna have it just drip in the boxes when you ship. You know, it's just such, you know, waste of time. For air, it's just air, right? You take out the miner for air when time comes to sell it. You take out the miner for air. You put it in a box and ship it. Done, right? It's over. You sold it. It's good. It arrives. It works. You know, it's air. Everyone understands it. You just plug it in. Done, right? That's air. But immersion is, what are you going to do with the oil? You know, are you just going to let it drip in the box when you try to ship it after you sell it? Anyway, just from our experience, it makes no sense. If you want to do like a little farm for yourself with immersion, sure. Like you want to plug in, you want to do like 0.5 megawatt of immersion at your house, you know, at your agricultural property. You just want to around. You like immersion. You know, you don't really care about efficiency that much. You just want to overclock miners, and it's fun for you. And you run it like that, that's fine, right? That's what immersion is for. But when you want to scale, when you want to make a business, when you want to go to 10, 20, 50 megawatts, immersion is a joke, okay? I'll tell you that. Anyway, here's the hydro for Whatsminers. This is the setup for hydro. See how it's different? It just has this one connector here. Look at it. Take a look inside. Interesting, huh? I never really looked into hydro for Whatsminers. And the reason for that is we never consider Whatsminers, as Whatsminers are usually more expensive. I don't know what they are now with their new releases, if they are more expensive. But for the past couple of years, they were always more expensive than Bitmain. And we do hear from a lot of techs out here. We actually talked with a tech from Master, Master Miner or something like that. It's a company that repairs boards, and they told us straight up that Whatsminers are more reliable and better quality than Bitmain miners, right? They're more reliable, better quality. They probably are. I mean, I heard that already from a couple of people. So they probably are better and more reliable, but they are way more expensive. As of as of recently. I don't know about their new miners, but they were way more expensive. So when you're looking at that, you have to take into account, like, okay, I'm getting a miner that might be less stable, might have more problems, but if I'm paying, you know, 50% less or 30% less, why would I do that? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, even if your defective rate increased by 5% versus Whatsminer, let's say Whatsminer is 5%, has less problems or 10% less problems, that wouldn't justify a 30 or 50% increase in price. So there is no justification there. Whatsminer, if Whatsminer costs the same as a Bitmain miner, that's when you can say, okay, Whatsminer costs the same, has the same delivery schedule. I get the miner at the same, you know, time as I would get a Bitmain miner. There's no issues there. But it's more reliable by 5-10%. You know, that's when you'd be like, all right, let's go with Whatsminer. It's just better like that. But not like this, right? So here you can see. But the cool thing about Whatsminer is, again, we never ran any of these hydro Whatsminers, but you can see it's going to be like a slide-in miner, which is really nice. I heard people talk about it. So you're going to be sliding in. You know, for bit hydro, you saw those hydros like a box, a mining box. It takes up way more space. Look at this setup here. It's just going to be a slide-in. You don't have a lot of tubes sticking out. It's just one connector. So that's cool. I mean, that's really cool. That's way better than Bitmain. I wonder how it performs though. Again, never ran one of these. So we don't know how it performs, but we did hear good things about it. Talking to guys out here that are running Whatsminer Hydro, and they have only good things to say. It's like a better setup. You can see, I mean, it looks solid. It looks really good. Look at this. Like a solid piece of metal. Solid, thick tube. So, but again, we have to look at the performance and get there. So if you're interested in getting like this, and you're interested in going with Whatsminer, and you want to work with us, Crypto LLC, so we can set up a Whatsminer Hydro for you. This is when we go deep with the engineering team with this setup here with the hydro, and seeing like what's the ambient temperatures required, what's the inlet outlet temperatures for the fluids, how much can it handle, what's the load, how many megawatts can you do, the efficiency of the miner, how the miner reacts to different temperatures, and then we'll be able to figure out like where you're going to place it. You're going to place this in a cold environment, a warm environment, or a hot environment, and figure out what's the best scenario for you to set it up. But you see how much space it takes? Look at that, very little space. And if I look inside, look at this. It's just got these little breakers. Look at, see that 3-phase? Just a 3-phase breaker, bam, per miner. CB13, CB14, minor. Each one's 3-phase. And there's the power coming in. It's just a nice, solid build. And it's really cool. If you guys wanted to go with hydro, I mean, your space that requires is significantly less. Look how small it is, you know? It's really cool for Whatsminer. So this is something you can totally look into. You could fit, it just takes way less space. Let me see what size container this is. Is this a megawatt? Is this a megawatt or not a megawatt? I mean, there should be, I don't see those pipes coming out right there. So there should be another container here that actually has the cooling for this one. This is an X series. You guys can also look this up. This is from HeatCore X series container here. So you go to their site and look it up. Well, you can see. I'm going here. Maybe we can get some information. 3,200 amps. Maybe it'll say like the megawatts here. But 3,000, that's very close to a megawatt. Probably is. All Schneider, or whatever it is. I wonder if it's German or not. But it's cool. HeatCore, TP-Link. I mean, it's a solid build in here. It's really thick metal. Nice thick metal. It's good stuff. And I'm gonna make more videos, by the way. This is just a live video for you guys, but I think I'll come back here with the higher quality camera we have, and come back here and go more like in depth and upload a higher quality video with that nice camera we have. so you get a better idea. And hopefully I'll see it. I don't see a tech here, but maybe he's around the corner. But I'll come back here, talk to the tech. I think this is a megawatt container. I'm going to confirm that. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I'll try to upload. Again, this is the third day, so I'll try to come out here, get a video of this guy here, go through the Whatsminer. Hopefully I'll meet a sales rep and get more information. All right, do you guys have any questions? Let me look at the live chat. There's no questions. You guys like, am I talking so much that, or is this interesting that you guys forget to ask questions? But ask some questions. As I'm gonna go back to the booth. I need to go back, start talking with any leads, any clients interested, building out a farm, buying miners, whatever they're looking for. So make sure you guys are asking questions if there are any. All right. Otherwise, I'm gonna end the stream here in a couple of minutes. All right. Start walking back to my booth. You guys have any questions? Type them in. All right, I'm walking back to my booth. I don't see any questions, so I'm gonna go back. But basically everyone's here. See Kaboom Racks over there. Maddox is here as well. Transformer manufacturer, Maddox, big company.
You've got to run your own node. That is
got small little stages here for like little guys, and then the big old stages are out there outside of the expo hall. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this live stream here. Yo, that email stamp doesn't count as a comment. Well, guys, if you guys have Bitmain miners, check out our firmware. We have a description of this page. It's going to save you a couple 100 watts per miner, increase your efficiency, give you profile switching. I'm going to create a video going through how it works and what the best settings are for various miners. But right now you can go download it. We have it in the description, and you're going to save some wattage and increase your performance on your S19s, L7s, S21s. All right. Well, that's going to be for this video, guys. Until next time. Goodbye.